All right, today we're going to be working on solving equations that have variables on both sides. Now this includes, this first problem doesn't, but we're going to include distribution, combining like terms, so all the things you might see in a single linear equation. So these first couple of steps, and I would write these down if I were you, but these first couple of steps are not going to be required by every single equation you see. In fact, this one doesn't. But if you have parentheses, you're going to want to distribute on both sides without crossing that equal sign to get rid of those parentheses. And then if there are like terms on either side, this can be where it's really helpful to draw that line down the middle so you don't cross it and start combining like terms that are not on the same side. So over here I have 7x plus 19, not like terms, so then it's nothing to combine there. On the right side, negative 2x plus 55, nothing to combine there either. So these first two are not necessary to this particular example. The next one is take the smallest x from both sides. Now, that's a good guideline. However, what you really want to do is get all of your x's to one side and all of your numbers to the opposite side. And so if you take the smallest x from both sides, then you can avoid having a negative x. But if you have a negative x, you just divide by a negative. So it really doesn't matter what side you put the x's or the numbers on, just as long as you get the x's to one side and the numbers to the other. So take the smallest x from both sides to get x's on one side. So what I'm going to do here is, actually, I'm going to look at this. This is negative 2x. So to get it to the opposite side, if I take away a negative, that's the same as adding. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. And then I'm going to simplify what I have and drop down what I have not used. So 7x plus 2x is 9x. I haven't used the plus 19. Drop down my equal sign. The 2x's and 2x and negative 2x added out to 0. Then I've got 55. And then I'm going to add or subtract to isolate the x's. So subtract 19. So 9x equals 55 minus 19 is 36. Then I'm going to multiply or divide to isolate x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9, and I end up with x equals 4. Now, I'm also going to show you a slightly quicker way that can help people keep stuff straight, but whichever way you prefer is fine. Okay, so we have this same equation that we did on the last one. I just want to show you a way you can avoid making a mistake that some people make. Sometimes people will take basically everything from one side and put it on the other side. And forget that when you subtract something from itself, you get 0. So the way you can avoid that, if you add 2x here and add 2x here, you can also subtract 19 and subtract 19. And basically, if you do go from one side to the other, drag the other stuff over, and you're not really dragging it, but you're taking care of both of those steps in one. And then you just combine like terms on each side. So 7x plus 2x is 9x. 19 minus 19 is 0. Drop your equal sign down. 2x plus 2, negative 2x plus 2x is 0. And then 55 minus 19 is 36. And divide both sides by 9. And x equals 4. So whichever way you choose is fine. This works really well for some people and not for others, so do what works for you. We're going to do a more complicated example now. Now we have some distribution, combining like terms. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to draw that line down the equal sign so I make sure that I don't do things I'm not supposed to do. And I'm also going to zoom in here so I have a little bit more space. So my first step is going to be to distribute. So on the left side, I have 3 times 2x plus 1. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 1 is a positive 3, so plus 3. Drop down anything you don't use. So minus 2x equals, and then over on the right side, 2 times x is x, or sorry, 2x, and then 2 times 5 is a positive 10 plus 10. The next step is to combine like terms without crossing the equal sign. So over on the left side, I have a 6x and a negative 2x. Remember, if we're subtracting something, that negative is attached to the number. So this is like we're adding a negative 2x. So the negative needs to stay with the 2x as one full term. So 6x minus 2x is going to give us 4x. I'm going to put those together. Drop down the plus 3. Drop down the equals. And on the right side, 2x plus 10, they're not like terms, so there's nothing to combine there. And then I'm going to take away the smallest x from both sides. So minus 2x, minus 2x. I'm going to go ahead and do this in the same step because I do find that more students prefer it that way. So then I'm going to subtract the 3. And what I've got here is 4x minus 2x is 2x. 3 minus 3 is 0. 2x minus 2x is 0. And 10 minus 3 is 7. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 3.5. If this was not what's called a terminating decimal, meaning it stops, like if you put it in the calculator and it just says 3.5, then I'm going to put it as a decimal. But if it was like 7 divided by 3 and we had a 6 repeating, 0.6 or 0.3 repeating, I would leave it as a fraction. But it terminates, so I'm going to write it as 3.5. And that's kind of to show you that we don't, it's nice when everything comes out to whole numbers, but not everything is always going to come out to whole numbers. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. That's the last bit of solving linear equations, and good luck on your test.